Some stories begin with once upon a time, but Mira's story began with a choice: save herself or save a stranger dying in the snow. The blizzard had come without warning, turning the mountain pass into a white grave. Mira stumbled through knee-deep drifts, her supplies long since abandoned, her strength fading with each brutal gust of wind. Hypothermia was setting in. She could feel it in the way her thoughts moved like molasses, in how the cold had stopped hurting and started feeling almost warm. She wouldn't make it to the village. She knew that now. But then she heard it, a low, agonized whimper cutting through the howling wind. 20 paces off the path, half buried in snow, lay a massive black wolf. Even dying, he was magnificent. His fur was midnight dark, his body easily twice the size of any natural wolf. A shifter had to be. Most had gone to war with the Alpha King 6 years ago. This soldier had made it home, only to collapse within sight of safety. Blood stained the snow around him. A vicious wound on his side oozed black. Poison, the enemy's signature weapon, designed to prevent shifter healing. His breathing was shallow, his silver eyes glazed with pain and resignation. Mira looked down at her own trembling hands. She had maybe an hour left, maybe less. If she kept moving, pushed herself, she might reach the village before the cold claimed her. If she stopped to help him, they would both die here. The wolf's eyes found hers. There was no pleading in them, no expectation of rescue, only a quiet acceptance. He'd fought for 6 years to protect people like her. Now he would die alone in the snow, unnamed and unmourned. "I'm sorry," Mira whispered, her voice nearly lost to the wind. "I'm so sorry, but I can't." She took a step forward, toward the village, toward survival, then stopped. 6 years. This wolf had spent 6 years in hell so she could live in peace. Had faced horrors she couldn't imagine. Had sacrificed everything. And she was going to let him die alone? No, she said aloud, though no one could hear. Absolutely not. Mira turned back. Her legs barely held her as she dropped to her knees beside him. The wolf was massive, had to weigh more than she did. But 6 years of working in the mines had made her stronger than she looked. "I've got you," she gasped, working her arms beneath him. "I'm not leaving you." She lifted. Her knees buckled. The world spun. The wolf whimpered as she got him across her shoulders, his weight pressing down like an avalanche. The village was too far, but she could see lights in the distance. The Alpha King's castle, sitting high on the mountain. Closer. Still impossibly far, but closer. One step, then another. Her vision blurred. Her lungs burned. Each breath felt like inhaling glass. The wolf's blood soaked through her coat, warm against her freezing skin. "I can't do this," she thought as darkness crept in at the edges of her vision. "I'm going to die." But she kept walking. Mira woke to warmth. It was the first thing she registered, genuine, blessed warmth. Then softness beneath her, clean sheets, the scent of herbs and wood smoke. Her eyes fluttered open to find herself in a large, unfamiliar room. Sunlight streamed through tall windows. A fire crackled in an ornate fireplace. This wasn't the village healer's cottage. "Easy," a deep voice said. "Don't try to sit up yet." Mira turned her head. A man sat in a chair beside her bed, and what a man. He was powerfully built, with broad shoulders and arms corded with muscle. Dark hair fell to his collar, slightly disheveled. His face was all sharp angles and hard edges, a warrior's face, marked by a thin scar cutting through his left eyebrow. But it was his eyes that stole her breath, silver gray, intense, and fixed entirely on her. "Where?" Her voice came out as a croak. "The castle," he said. "You've been unconscious for 2 days. The healers say you were minutes from death when the guards found you." Memory flooded back. The blizzard. The wolf. "The wolf," she gasped, trying to sit up. Did he?" "Alive," the man said, his hand gently pressing her back down. His touch was warm, careful. "Thanks to you." Relief made her dizzy. "Thank the gods. I wasn't sure we'd make it." "You shouldn't have made it." His voice was quiet, almost wondering. "The healers said you had severe hypothermia, frostbite on your fingers and toes. You should have died in that storm." "But the wolf. You carried a 200-pound shifter nearly half a mile through a blizzard while you were dying yourself." He leaned forward, those silver eyes searching her face. "Why?" "He fought for us," Mira said simply. "For 6 years. He deserved to make it home." Something shifted in the man's expression. Surprise, perhaps, or something deeper. Most people would have saved themselves. then most people are wrong. He smiled then, a real smile that transformed his harsh features into something almost gentle. I'm beginning to see that. I'm Mira, she offered, from Ironvale Village. I know, he said. We found your papers. Mira Thorne, mine worker, age 22, no living family. Her chest tightened at that last part. That's me. And you are. His smile turned wry. You really don't know? Should I? Before he could answer, the door burst open. A woman in healer's robes rushed in, followed by 2 guards and a severe-looking man in official dress. Your Majesty, you shouldn't be. The official began, then stopped short when he saw Mira was awake. His eyes widened. She's conscious? She is. The man, His Majesty, said calmly. And she needs rest. So if you could all, Your Majesty, we must discuss the situation, the official pressed. The council is demanding answers about your condition, and there are matters of state that cannot wait. Mira's brain finally caught up. She looked at the man beside her bed, at his bearing, his authority, the way everyone else in the room deferred to him. The silver eyes, the massive build. The wolf had been black with silver eyes. Oh gods, she breathed. You're the Alpha King. King Rowan's smile was rueful. I was wondering when that would click. She'd carried the king. She'd saved the king. She decalled him just the wolf and told him he deserved to make it home like he was any common soldier. Easy, Rowan said, catching her hand as she started to panic. You saved my life, Mira. I'm not going to let anything happen to you. But I didn't know. I thought you were a soldier who'd served his kingdom? His thumb brushed over her knuckles, the gesture oddly intimate. You weren't wrong. The official cleared his throat. Your Majesty, if we might have a moment. You may not, Rowan said without looking away from Mira. Clear the room. All of you. There was a moment of shocked silence. Then, one by one, they filed out. The healer went last, casting a concerned glance at Mira before closing the door. Silence fell. I'm sorry, Mira finally said. If I'd known you were the king, I would have what? Let me die with proper deference. Rowan's voice was dry. I think I prefer your version. I just meant, you saved my life when you thought I was nobody, he interrupted gently. When saving me meant your own death. Do you understand how rare that is? How precious? Mira's throat tightened. You fought for us. All of you did. It was the least. No, Rowan said. It wasn't the least. It was everything. He was still holding her hand, she realized. His grip was warm, solid, grounding. I've spent 6 years surrounded by people who follow me because of my crown, who fear my power, who want something from me. You were the first person in a very long time who helped me simply because I needed help. Anyone would have. They didn't, he said quietly. My own guards passed by without recognizing their king. But you, a stranger, gave up your own life to save mine. The weight in his words made her ache. I couldn't let you die alone. And I, Rowan said, lifting her hand to his lips, will never forget that. The kiss he pressed to her knuckles was featherlight, reverent. It sent heat racing through her veins despite her exhaustion. Rest now, he murmured. We'll talk more when you're stronger. But Mira, he waited until she met his eyes. You're under my personal protection now. No one will harm you. You have my word. As he stood to leave, Mira found her voice. Your Majesty? He paused at the door, looking back. Thank you, she said, for not dying in that storm. His smile was soft, genuine. Thank you for not letting me. Mira spent the next 3 days recovering under the watchful eyes of the castle healers. The frostbite had been severe, but they'd saved her fingers and toes. Small scars would remain, they said, marks of her sacrifice. She didn't mind. The Wolf King lived. That was what mattered. King Rowan visited every day, sometimes twice. He brought her books, sat with her in comfortable silence, told her stories about the war that were somehow both terrible and hopeful. He never acted like a king around her, just a man who survived something horrific and was trying to figure out how to be human again. The worst part wasn't the fighting, he said one evening, sitting in his usual chair beside her bed. It was coming home and realizing I didn't fit anymore. This castle, these people, everything's the same, but I'm different. 6 years changes a person, Mira said softly. It does. His silver eyes found hers. What were you doing out in that storm anyway? Ironvale is 20 miles from here. Mira looked down at her hands. I was running from a bad situation in the village. I thought I could make it to Silver Peak, find work there. I didn't expect the storm to hit so fast. What kind of bad situation? She hesitated, but something about Rowan made her want to tell the truth. My foreman at the mine. He's been persistent. When I refused his advances, he made things difficult. Then he threatened to have me blacklisted from every mine in the region unless She swallowed hard. I couldn't stay. Rowan's expression went very still, very cold. His name, Your Majesty, it doesn't matter. His name, Mira. Henrik Voss. But please, I don't want trouble. He threatened you, Rowan said quietly, and there was something dangerous in his voice now. Something that reminded her he was an alpha, a warrior who'd spent 6 years in battle. He tried to coerce you. That's not trouble for you. That's trouble for him. I just want to move on, Mira said. Find new work, start over. Rowan studied her for a long moment. Then he stood, moving to the window. The setting sun painted him in gold and shadow. I owe you a life debt, Mira. In shifter law, that's sacred. It means I'm bound to you until the debt is repaid. You don't owe me anything. I owe you everything, he corrected, turning back. So here's what's going to happen. You're going to stay at the castle. I'm giving you a position in my household. Something suitable, nothing demeaning. You'll be paid well, housed well, protected. Your Majesty, I can't accept. You can and you will, he said firmly. Because the alternative is you going back out into that world where men like Henrik Voss can threaten you with impunity. And I won't allow that. There was something almost possessive in his tone, something that made her pulse quicken. What position? She asked carefully. A small smile played at his lips. How do you feel about books? The king's librarian, the royal library, was magnificent. Mira stood in the center of it, spinning slowly, trying to take it all in. 3 stories of books surrounded her, accessible by elegant spiral staircases and walkways. Sunlight streamed through stained glass windows, painting everything in jeweled colors. The scent of old paper and leather and magic hung in the air. It's beautiful, she breathed. It's a mess, Rowan said from behind her. The previous librarian passed away 2 years ago, right before the war ended. No one's properly maintained it since. I need someone to catalog everything, organize it, make it functional again. And you want me to do this? You told me you could read and write. That's more than most can say. He moved closer, his presence warm at her back. Besides, I thought you might enjoy being surrounded by books all day. Better than the mines, anyway. She turned to face him. He was close. Close enough that she had to tilt her head back to meet his eyes. This is too much. A room in the servants' quarters would have been plenty. I disagree. His hand came up, tucking a strand of her dark hair behind her ear. The gesture was gentle, intimate. You saved my life, Mira. Let me give you a better one in return. Her breath caught. They were standing so close, she could see the flecks of darker gray in his silver eyes, could feel the heat radiating from his body. For a moment, she thought he might kiss her. Then footsteps echoed on the stairs, and they both stepped back. A tall woman appeared, beautiful and sharp-eyed, wearing fine clothes that marked her as nobility. She stopped short when she saw them, her expression going carefully neutral. Your Majesty, she said with a curtsy. I was told you were here. I wanted to. Her eyes landed on Mira. Oh, you must be the girl everyone's talking about. Lady Helena, Rowan said, his voice cooling slightly. This is Mira Thorne, my new royal librarian. Helena's perfectly shaped eyebrows rose. How unexpected. I thought perhaps something from the servants' quarters. The library required a skilled keeper, Rowan said smoothly. Mira has proven herself more than capable. The tension in the air was thick enough to cut. Helena smiled, but it didn't reach her eyes. Of course, Your Majesty. I'm sure she'll do wonderfully. She turned to Mira. Welcome to the castle, Miss Thorne. I hope you'll find your place here. Something about the way she said, your place, made Mira's spine straighten. After Helena left, Rowan sighed. I apologize for that. Who is she? Lady Helena Ashford, daughter of Duke Ashford, one of my father's closest advisors. She and I were close before the war. Many expected we would marry. And now, his eyes found hers. Now I find I'm interested in someone quite different. The words hung between them, heavy with meaning. Mira's heart hammered against her ribs. Your Majesty, Rowan, he interrupted softly. When we're alone, call me Rowan. Rowan, she tried, and watched something warm kindle in his eyes. This, whatever this is, people will talk. I'm nobody, just a mine worker. You're the woman who saved my life, he said. The woman who gave up everything for a stranger. That makes you someone very important to me. He took her hand, his thumb brushing over her scarred knuckles, the marks left by the frostbite, proof of what she'd sacrificed. "I'm not asking you to decide anything now," he said quietly. "I'm just asking you to stay, to let me know you and let you know me. Can you do that?" Mira should say no. Should remember her place. Remember that he was a king and she was nothing. Should protect her heart before it got broken. But when she looked up at him, at this warrior king who survived 6 years of hell only to be saved by a stranger as kindness, she couldn't find the word. "Yes," she whispered instead. "I can do that." His smile was radiant, transforming his harsh features into something beautiful. "Good. Then let's get you settled. You have a library to organize, after all." As he showed her around her new domain, explaining the various sections and categories, Mira felt something unfold in her chest. Hope, maybe, or possibility. She'd given up her life to save a dying wolf in a blizzard. She hadn't expected to find a reason to live in return. The court circle's word spread quickly through the castle. The king had a new favorite. Mira tried to ignore the whispers, the stares, the way conversations stopped when she entered a room. She focused on her work, losing herself in the comforting rhythm of cataloging and organizing. The library became her sanctuary, but she couldn't avoid the court entirely. "You're making waves," said a friendly voice one afternoon. Mira looked up from her work to find a young woman with warm brown skin and kind eyes smiling at her. She wore the simple dress of a palace servant, but carried herself with confidence. "I don't mean to," Mira said honestly. "No one ever does." The woman sat on the edge of Mira's desk. "I'm Senna. I work in the king's household. And before you worry, I'm not here to make trouble. I actually think what you did was incredible. Thank you. Saving the king, I mean. Half the people here wouldn't have lifted a finger. They'd have recognized him and been too afraid to touch him, or wouldn't have recognized him and wouldn't have cared." Senna's smile was genuine. "But you saved him anyway. That takes real courage. It was just the right thing to do. That's what makes it special." Senna glanced around, then lowered her voice. "Listen, I wanted to warn you. Lady Helena is gathering allies. She expected to be queen, and now you're in her way. I'm not trying to be queen. Doesn't matter what you're trying. Matters what it looks like." Senna squeezed her hand. "The king visits you every day. He gave you a prestigious position. He looks at you like..." She trailed off, smiling. "Well, like you hung the moon. People notice." Heat crept up Mira's neck. "He's just grateful. He's smitten," Senna corrected gently. "And you're falling for him too, aren't you?" Was she? Mira thought about Rowan's visits, about the way her heart leapt when she heard his footsteps, about how the library felt brighter when he was in it, about how she'd started counting the hours between his visits. "It doesn't matter," she said quietly. "He's the king. I'm nobody." "You're the woman who saved his life," Senna said, echoing Rowan's own words. "That makes you somebody very important." That evening, Rowan arrived with dinner, real food, not servant's fare. They ate together in comfortable silence, sitting on the floor of the library with plates balanced on their laps. "I heard you met Senna," Rowan said. "She warned me about Lady Helena. Senna's good at reading court politics." He set his plate aside. "Is Helena causing you trouble?" "Not directly. Just looks. Comments. She'll do more than that if I don't address it." Rowan's jaw tightened. "I should have been clearer with her before. Should have made it plain that there was no future there." "Was there ever?" Mira asked, then immediately regretted it. "Sorry, that's not my business." "Yes, it is." He caught her hand, his silver eyes intense. "It is your business, because you're important to me. So I'll tell you the truth. Helena and I were expected to marry, but I never loved her. I respected her, even cared for her as a friend. But there was no passion there, no real connection. The war gave me an excuse to delay the inevitable conversation. And now I know what I actually want." His thumb traced circles on her palm. "And it's not a political alliance or a convenient marriage. It's someone real, someone brave and kind and genuine." Mira's breath caught. "Rowan, you don't have to say anything," he said quickly. "I know this is complicated. I know I'm asking too much. But I needed you to know. Needed you to understand that this," he gestured between them, "isn't just gratitude. It's not a life debt. It's something else entirely." The firelight painted him in warm gold, highlighting the sharp planes of his face, the silver in his eyes. He was beautiful and broken and trying so hard to be honest with her. "I'm scared," Mira admitted. "I'm terrified, actually, because I feel it too. This, whatever it is, and I don't know what to do with it. Be scared with me. Rowan said simply. That's all I'm asking. She should say no, should protect herself, should remember that fairy tales weren't real and girls like her didn't end up with kings. But when he looked at her like that, like she was precious, like she mattered, she couldn't find the strength to refuse. Okay, she whispered. I'll be scared with you. His smile was brilliant, relieved. He pulled her closer until she was tucked against his side, his arm warm around her shoulders. They stayed like that for hours, talking and laughing and simply existing together. Neither of them noticed Lady Helena watching from the shadows of the corridor, her expression cold with calculation. The next morning, Rowan appeared at the library with an unexpected proposal. Come hunting with me, he said. Mira looked up from the ancient tome she'd been cataloging. Hunting. The council is driving me mad with their demands. I need to shift, to run, to feel like myself again. His eyes held a plea. And I'd like you to come with me. I don't hunt, you're Rowan. I wouldn't know the first thing about it. You don't have to hunt. Just ride with me. Keep me company. He moved closer, his voice dropping. I want to show you something. There was an intimacy in his request that made her heart flutter. What about your duties? The council can wait. His smile was almost rebellious. I've spent 6 years doing my duty. One afternoon won't destroy the kingdom. An hour later, Mira found herself on horseback, riding through the winter forest beside the king. The snow had stopped, leaving everything crystalline and pristine. Her borrowed riding clothes were too fine, the horse too well-bred, the company too exalted. She felt like she was living in someone else's dream. I used to come here as a boy, Rowan said, guiding them down a narrow trail. Before the crown, before the responsibilities. This was my escape. Do you miss it? Being free. Every day. He glanced at her. The war was hell, but at least there, things were simple. Fight or die, protect or fail. Here, everything's politics and manipulation and carefully worded threats disguised as advice. They reached a clearing, and Rowan dismounted, helping her down. His hands lingered on her waist a moment longer than necessary. I want to shift, he said. Will you stay? I promise I won't go far. Mira nodded, and Rowan stepped back. The transformation was beautiful. That same liquid moonlight she'd glimpsed in the healer's cottage, that sense of witnessing something sacred. The massive black wolf stood before her, silver eyes gleaming with intelligence. He was magnificent, powerful and deadly, and somehow still gentle as he approached her, pressing his massive head against her hand. Hello again, Mira whispered, scratching behind his ears. The wolf made a rumbling sound of contentment, leaning into her touch. They stayed like that for a while, Mira petting him, talking to him about nothing and everything. The wolf seemed to relax completely, some of the tension leaving his powerful frame. A twig snapped. The wolf's head whipped around, a growl building in his chest. 3 men emerged from the trees, hunters by their clothes, but something was off. They carried weapons, yes, but the way they moved was too coordinated, too purposeful. Well, the lead hunter said, his eyes on Mira, the king's little pet, all alone in the woods. The wolf moved between them, snarling. The hunters laughed. Easy boy, the leader said. We're not here for you. Just delivering a message to the girl. What message? Mira asked, her voice steadier than she felt. That she should remember her place. That some people don't appreciate upstarts trying to climb above their station. His smile was cruel. Lady Helena sends her regards. The wolf lunged. What happened next was chaos. The hunters scattered, but they weren't running, they were fighting. Steel flashed. The wolf moved like liquid death, all fangs and fury. But there were 3 of them, and they'd come prepared with silver weapons. One blade caught the wolf's shoulder. He yelped, stumbling. No, Mira screamed, grabbing a fallen branch. It was pathetic as weapons went, but she swung it anyway, catching one hunter across the face. He cursed, turning toward her. The wolf was there in an instant, jaws closing around the man's arm. The hunter screamed. His companions hesitated, suddenly realizing they'd bitten off more than they could chew. Run, one hissed. They fled, leaving their wounded companion behind. The wolf released him, and the man scrambled after his friends, clutching his mangled arm. Silence fell. The wolf stood panting, blood dripping from his shoulder. Then that moonlight shimmer, and Rowan was human again, naked and bleeding. You're hurt, Mira gasped, rushing to him. I'm fine. But he swayed, and she caught him. Silver slows our healing. It'll pass. We need to get you back to the castle. Mira, he caught her face in his hands. You could have run. Should have run. Why did you stay? Because you stayed for me, she said simply. 6 years ago, when you could have retreated, you stayed and fought. Today, when they threatened me, you protected me. How could I do less? Something blazed in his silver eyes, wonder and desire, and something deeper. You're extraordinary. Do you know that? Before she could answer, he kissed her. It was nothing like the brief, innocent kiss she'd given him in the healer's cottage. This was fierce and desperate and claiming. His hands tangled in her hair, pulling her closer. She melted into him, her fingers tracing the scars on his bare shoulders, feeling the heat of his skin. When they finally broke apart, both breathing hard, Rowan pressed his forehead to hers. I love you, he said. I know it's too soon. I know it's complicated, but I love you, Mira. I think I started falling the moment you lifted me in that blizzard. Tears pricked her eyes. I love you too. I don't know when it happened, but I do. His smile was radiant. Then he winced, touching his shoulder. We should probably address this before I bleed out and ruin the moment. Mira laughed despite everything, helping him back to the horses. As they rode toward the castle, she knew everything was about to change. Helena had made her move. Now there would be consequences. The attack couldn't be ignored. Rowan called an emergency council meeting, and despite his insistence that Mira stay away, she insisted on attending. If this was about her, she had a right to face it. The council chamber was imposing, a circular room with a massive table at its center. Nobles and advisors filled the seats, their expressions ranging from curious to hostile. Lady Helena sat beside her father, Duke Ashford, looking perfectly composed. This is unprecedented, Duke Ashford said as Mira entered with Rowan. A commoner has no place in council chambers. She was the target of an assassination attempt, Rowan said coldly. She has every right to hear what we discover. Assassination is a strong word, Your Majesty, Helena said smoothly. Perhaps it was merely a robbery gone wrong? 3 trained fighters with silver weapons, sent to deliver a message about knowing one's place. Rowan's voice was ice. That's not robbery, Lady Helena. That's a coordinated attack. Helena's expression didn't flicker. If someone did send them, it's deplorable. But surely you can understand why some might be concerned about Miss Thorne's sudden prominence. Concerned enough to murder? Rowan demanded. Your Majesty. Another council member interjected, an elderly man named Lord Corwin. Perhaps we should address the root of the concern. You've shown Miss Thorne considerable favor. You've installed her in a position of prestige. You spend hours with her daily. People are talking. Let them talk. It's not that simple, Duke Ashford said. You're the Alpha King. Your choice of companion, of mate, affects the entire kingdom. The stability of the realm depends on a strong political alliance. Are you suggesting I marry for politics rather than love? Rowan's tone was dangerous. I'm suggesting you consider your duty, Ashford replied. Your father, my father is dead, Rowan snapped. I am king now, and I will not be dictated to about matters of my heart. Hearts are luxuries, another noble said. Kings must think of kingdoms. Mira felt the walls closing in. Every eye in the room was on her, judging, calculating. She was the problem, the obstacle, the commoner disrupting their carefully laid plans. Perhaps I should leave, she said quietly. No, Rowan said immediately. Your Majesty, if my presence is causing such turmoil. Your presence is a gift, he said fiercely. These people would have me marry for land, for alliances, for treaties. They'd have me cage myself in a loveless marriage because it's convenient. It's necessary, Duke Ashford insisted. The kingdom needs stability. We need alliances. Lady Helena is a perfect match. I don't love Lady Helena. Rowan's words cut through the chamber like a blade. I love Mira. Gasps echoed around the room. Helena's mask finally cracked, hurt flashing across her face before she smoothed it away. Duke Ashford looked apoplectic. Your Majesty, Lord Corwin said carefully. Perhaps you should consider this more carefully. Miss Thorne is charming, certainly, but love is not enough to rule a kingdom. You need, what I need, Rowan interrupted, is to be able to trust the people around me, to know that they care about me, not just my crown. Mira proved that when she saved my life, she gave up everything for a stranger. That's worth more than any political alliance. Pretty words, Ashford said coldly. But the kingdom requires more than pretty words. It requires strength, strategy, powerful allies. What does this girl bring to the crown? She brings me back to myself, Rowan said quietly. After 6 years of war, of death, of becoming something hard and cold, she reminds me what I was fighting for. She reminds me that kindness and courage still exist. That's worth more than all your political schemes. Mira's throat tightened. She wanted to run, to escape this room full of hostile faces. But she forced herself to stand tall, to meet their gazes. "If I may speak," she said. The room fell silent. "I understand your concerns," Mira continued. "I'm nobody, a mine worker, an orphan. I have no family name, no political connections, nothing to offer the crown. And if I thought my leaving would truly help Rowan, would help the kingdom, I would go." Helena's eyes gleamed with satisfaction. "But," Mira continued, "I won't apologize for loving him. I won't apologize for being the person who was there when he needed someone. And I won't let you make him feel guilty for choosing his own happiness." "Happiness is a luxury," Ashford began. "No," Mira interrupted. "Happiness is what makes the sacrifice worth it. Rowan spent 6 years fighting for this kingdom. He bled for you, nearly died for you. And now you want to take away the one good thing he's found since coming home? That's not duty. That's cruelty." Silence. Several council members looked uncomfortable. "The girl makes a point," Lord Corwin admitted grudgingly. "His Majesty has sacrificed much. Perhaps we've been too quick to dismiss his feelings." "Feelings don't win wars or secure borders," Ashford snapped. "No," Rowan said, "but they give us something worth protecting." He stood, his presence commanding the room. "I am your king. I have earned that title through blood and sacrifice, and I will not be controlled by threats or politics or expectations. I choose Mira. If the council cannot accept that, they're welcome to challenge me." The threat hung in the air. No one would challenge an Alpha King directly. It meant a fight to the death. Duke Ashford's jaw clenched. Helena stared at the table. Slowly, the nobles began to murmur their acceptance, though many looked unhappy. "This isn't over," Ashford said quietly as they filed out. Helena paused beside Mira. "You think you've won," she whispered. "But love won't protect you from what's coming. He'll realize his mistake. And when he does, I'll be there." Then she was gone, leaving Mira shaken. Rowan pulled her into his arms. "I'm sorry you had to endure that. You defended me," she said, "in front of everyone. You chose me. Always," he promised. "I will always choose you." But as they left the council chamber, Mira couldn't shake the feeling that the real battle was just beginning. News of the king's declaration spread through the castle like wildfire, then out into the kingdom itself. Within days, everyone knew. The Alpha King loved a commoner. Reactions were mixed. "The market sellers are calling you the Blizzard Maiden," Senna reported, grinning. "They're saying you're proof that courage matters more than birth. Half the kingdom thinks it's wildly romantic. And the other half?" Mira asked. Senna's smile faded. "Think you're an opportunist who seduced the king while he was vulnerable." It hurt, but Mira had expected it. You didn't challenge centuries of tradition without facing resistance. What she hadn't expected was the support. Letters began arriving at the castle, hundreds of them. Common people writing to say they were proud of her, that she gave them hope. Mothers saying they'd tell their daughters the Blizzard Maiden story. Soldiers who fought beside Rowan saying anyone brave enough to carry a wounded king through a blizzard deserved to stand beside him. "Look at this one," Rowan said, holding up a letter. They were in the library, sorting through the pile. "It's from a farming village on the eastern border. They want to name their new well after you." Mira laughed. "That's ridiculous. That's devotion." He pulled her onto his lap, kissing her temple. "The people love you, Mira. They see what I see. Someone real, someone who cares. The nobles don't love me. The nobles are afraid of change." His arms tightened around her. "But they'll adapt. They always do." A knock interrupted them. One of Rowan's guards entered, looking grim. "Your Majesty, we've arrested one of the men from the forest attack. He's confessed." Rowan was on his feet instantly. "And Lady Helena hired them. All three. She paid them to frighten Miss Thorne, make her leave the castle. She claims she never ordered them to actually harm anyone. But..." The guard shrugged. "Silver weapons suggest otherwise." Rowan's expression went deadly cold. "Where is she?" "Her room's under guard." "Rowan," Mira caught his arm. "What are you going to do? What I should have done from the start." His jaw was set. "Hold her accountable." The confrontation happened in a formal audience chamber. Helena stood before the throne, her father beside her. She looked smaller somehow, less formidable. "Afraid. You hired assassins," Rowan said without preamble. To attack the woman I love. I never meant for her to be hurt, Helena said quickly. I just wanted her to leave, to understand she didn't belong. You sent men with silver weapons to threaten her in an isolated forest, Rowan interrupted. What did you think would happen? Your Majesty, please. Duke Ashford stepped forward. My daughter made a terrible mistake. She acted out of heartbreak, not malice. Surely that counts for something. It counts for premeditation. Rowan's voice was ice. She planned this. Hired them. Sent them. She is responsible for what they did. What they did was deliver a message, Helena protested. I never told them to use weapons. You gave them silver, Mira said quietly. Everyone turned to her. Silver is specifically designed to harm shifters. You knew Rowan might protect me. You prepared for that possibility. Helena's face crumbled. I loved him, she whispered. For years, I waited. I was patient. I did everything right. And then you appeared and took everything from me. Despite everything, Mira felt a flicker of sympathy. I didn't take anything. You can't steal someone's heart. It has to be given freely. Easy for you to say, Helena snapped. You're the one he chose. Because she saved my life, Rowan said. Because she's kind and brave and selfless. Not because she manipulated or schemed or tried to eliminate her rivals. Silence fell. Duke Ashford looked like he'd aged a decade. What's the punishment? He asked hoarsely. Exile, Rowan said. Lady Helena, you are banished from the capital and all royal lands for 5 years. You will retire to your family's northern estate. If you set foot in the capital before your exile is complete, the punishment will be death. Helena gasped. Her father sagged. Your Majesty, please, Ashford begged. She's my only daughter, and she tried to have my mate killed, Rowan said flatly. Be grateful I'm showing any mercy at all. As the guards led Helena away, she looked back at Mira. There was no hatred in her eyes now, just exhaustion and regret. I hope you're worth it, she said quietly. I hope you make him happy. I'll try, Mira said honestly. When the chamber emptied, Rowan pulled Mira into his arms. It's done. Helena's gone. The threat is neutralized. Your council will hate you for exiling a duke's daughter. Let them. He tilted her chin up. I'm tired of playing politics, Mira. I'm tired of putting everyone else's wants before my own. I want you. I want a life with you. And I'm done apologizing for it. His kiss was fierce, claiming, full of promise. When they broke apart, Mira was breathless. Marry me, Rowan said. What? Marry me. Be my mate, my queen, my partner in everything. His hands framed her face. I know it's fast. I know it's complicated, but I've never been more certain of anything in my life. Rowan, I'm a commoner. You're the woman I love. That's all that matters. Your kingdom will adjust. They'll have to, because I'm not letting you go. His forehead pressed to hers. Say yes, Mira. Please. She thought about the council's hostility, about the nobles who would never accept her, about the weight of a crown she'd never wanted. Then she thought about this man who'd survived hell and come back broken, who'd found his way back to himself through her love. Yes, she whispered. Yes, I'll marry you. His smile was brighter than the sun. He lifted her, spinning her around, laughing like a boy instead of a war-weary king. When he set her down, his eyes were bright with unshed tears. I promise you, he said, I will spend every day of the rest of my life making sure you never regret this. I won't, Mira said. I couldn't. You're my home, Rowan. You always will be. They kissed again, softer this time, full of tenderness and hope in the promise of a future they'd build together. Outside, snow began to fall, gentle and pure, like a blessing.